Hello again, it's 6 hours later and we are maybe on the halfway. It's getting cold and I'm getting home now. We're gonna continue with this and I'm gonna reprogram this a little bit to get a little faster machining time. Yeah, I was pretty careful with the program, so yeah, I'm gonna modify it a little bit, make a little deeper cut and stuff like that, so let's continue tomorrow. Now I'm gonna continue the cutting. I modified the program a little bit. It's gonna take 10mm cuts instead of 5, so it should be considerably faster. I went a little bit too carefully with the first cutting file. It was just way slower than I ever imagined. And that of course is just my inexperience with these kind of cutting things. I'm not sure if you can see this, but of course this program has all the cutting in one program, so I need to kind of rewind the program into a certain place where it should start making the next pocket, so to speak. Here is the pockets. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 pockets has been done already, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there is really 4 more to go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, this is the 6th. Getting close. It's a bit hard to find the actual spot. Okay, now it's on the... Not sure if we can see, but now the highlighted is right on the last round of the 6th. So it just needs to go back in there and then we'll try to find the starting point of the 7th layer. It's coming back from the outer edge right over there, and you can probably see, yeah, now there is Z value change to 60. Yep, that's the Z121, and now it comes up. That's the place we are gonna run from. Here command, and now it shows everything that already has been cut. Now I'm gonna push start, and now it should go in that position. Yeah, spindle starts. Yep, and now the machine is moving to initial position. So, and now I'm gonna start it. Yeah, now it should continue just where it left. We'll see. Good. Yep, it works. And it is done. It still feels like magic to get pieces like this with this amazing machine. The shape looks absolutely perfect. There is nothing, no defects, nothing. I'm just overwhelmed right now. However, there is still 2 programs to run. One is the holes for attaching this to the other side we're gonna do later, and the second one is to mark the surroundings. I'm gonna run a program that just cuts all around the shape and gives the final outer kind of form of this stem piece. So we'll run those now, and after that we'll check it out how it looks. It's amazing, just absolutely amazing. Okay, here we have the first half of the stem. It is almost ready. I just need to trim it up here and back there a little bit. And then of course we need to shape it on its final shape on these grooves. However, I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to wait until I have the second half ready as well. And most probably the shaping is going to be done when this piece is actually on the boat. But anyway, this was quite substantial job. It took almost 2 weeks. It was pretty intensive thinking process how to actually be able to cut this, how to make the kind of the stock big enough but not too big and stuff like that. There was a lot of small things I needed to consider with this. But I think the end result is, I can say it's perfect, and I'm very pleased with that. Now I'm gonna put this on the side and continue with other jobs in the workshop. The thing I'm waiting right now is to have more epoxy. I have still some left here, but it's not gonna be enough for me to do the other half of the stem or rest of the frames, so I have already ordered the next batch. It's coming in a couple of weeks. Meanwhile, there is time to do all those smaller things that needs to be done eventually anyway. One of them is this frame 0. You probably remember if you have watched the previous videos up there. This frame number 0 is missing the upper section right here. That is something I can definitely do with that epoxy. Then there is this frame 15 underneath here. It's missing one slat layer. There was a miscalculation by someone, and this needs some additional filling on the outer edges. So that's something I can do as well. Then probably there is still enough epoxy for me to do one smaller frame, the frame number 1, which is the next from the bow of the boat right after this one. Those are the things with the epoxy. Then I have started to think about this whole shed. There is still 7 frames to be done. Those are going to take some time, but that doesn't prevent me to start thinking about laying the boat here in the shed. As you can see, this whole shed is now full of all kinds of stuff. I need to get rid of most of that extra wood you have seen back there many months. In a video quite many episodes ago, you can probably look at it up there, I made this initial marking on the floor where the boat should be. And you can maybe see this red line right here. After that, I started to think about this a little bit. It has turned out that mostly I need, of course, this space around the front door. That is the back door of the tent. I can open it if I need, but there's nothing in there. You can't go anywhere from there. In order to get this space here in the front be usable, I really need to turn the boat other way around. So the stern will be there and the bow will be right here, and all this space between the bow and this other wall will be usable for doing stuff. So I'm gonna redo these lines on the floor eventually, but then pretty much I need to start thinking how I'm gonna lay down the boat in here, meaning that I need the flat surface to lay it down, and that's gonna take some time as well. So there is kind of three things now going on at once: making the frame zero, making the next frame, and cleaning up this space and starting to figure out the foundation of the boat. And all of them are pretty exciting. I now started to figure out the upper section of the frame zero. It is upside down here, these are the molds, and this is the area I should fill with something. And it's gonna be in between of this. Well, you know. I just started to think, I have some left of this thin slat material from the frame zero, which had the pretty tight curve on it, but I really wouldn't like to mill so much of this stuff again just to make this kind of upper section a little bit secondary structure. This is basically just holding the deck and connecting the front piece together on either side. So what I'm thinking, I'm probably gonna sit down with the computer again and make programs for the CNC to cut pieces that fit approximately here with this curve. Then I could design some kind of joint here so that there's a beam coming on top of here, and then there is another beam, something like that, and some kind of joint here. Yeah, I'm gonna do that instead. Not gonna laminate this with the same method as before, but do something else instead. Couple of things I need to do for this frame zero are a little bit of a trimming and a little bit of filling. It's probably a little bit hard to visualize what's actually going on here. I try to explain a little bit. This is the upper section I showed you, and this is coming right in here. And this level will be the deck level. And here these slots will be the beams that come all the way around the boat. And they're gonna be glued against here and also against this side. So these are going to be cut off. Now the lamination with this frame zero, well, it went okay, but this was hard to press firmly against right here. So you can see there's a bit of a gap here, and also there's some material missing. These flanges should be covered with the lamination. So I need to add a little bit of material here to able to make this shape all the way onto this bottom plywood. Then I need to trim here a little bit so I'm able to glue that upper section between here. It should be flush with these plywood edges. I think that's good enough. These are now cleaned up and sanded. Epoxy should stick to them just fine. I think I'll call it done. I used the fast hardener here and I'm not bothering putting the box anymore. It is over 15 degrees Celsius, although it's almost 8 o'clock in the evening. So we'll see how this comes tomorrow. It happens to be that Lahti region, the place where I live here in Finland, has a pretty long history of furniture making. I think many of the furniture going into those massive cruise ships you see on the Caribbean are actually made in this area. That means that there is pretty good supporting industry around that, and I happen to have a special store just around the corner that provides all kinds of router bits, saw blades, bandsaw blades and stuff like that. So now I'm gonna go and grab that bigger router bit. I hope they have some of those on the shelf. And just like that, I got 2 new router bits. Let's head up to the workshop and take a look at these. During this week I made a couple of nights work with this frame 0 and shaped these a little bit. And now the surface for these beams are shaped and finished, and also this surface where I'm going to glue the middle section is done. The next job is to figure out the filling of this middle section, and I actually decided I'm not gonna laminate with the slats. Instead I'm gonna use these scrap pieces that are left over from making the floor pieces of the frames. So here is pretty much of completely usable material. I'm gonna CNC cut some of them from these with those new router bits, which are these. As you may know, I have had some problems cutting these deep cuts for these floor pieces, and now this is a 120mm 3 cutter rough cutting upcut bit, so this should be kind of no-brainer doing cuts like these. This is the right tool for that. I also bought a little shorter 2 cutter upcut bit that I'm gonna use a little bit more gently stuff for carving the stem piece and stuff like that. This should be awesome for those. But now I'm gonna grab the computer, sit down for a while and kind of figure out the pieces that is going in here and start cutting them from these scrap pieces. But I think I'm gonna actually do the cutting tomorrow, because tonight I'm gonna go and drop my current sailboat, CNC-Camel, to the water. Everything's now ready to get this thing on the water. 28th of April. I actually haven't been this early ever before, so the ice left from the lake last Monday, so pretty early bird this time. So I did the first cut with this new end mill, and the result was pretty much the same with the earlier ones. It just tends to resonate and flex, and I think it's not of the end mill or the tip, it's the actual design of the machine. If I take here and kind of try to move this around, I can feel it flexing, and I can actually see now here that this thing is moving, so the whole gantry is kind of flexing a little bit. So yeah, this design really isn't sturdy enough to make deep and long cuts with this kind of end mill. So my options really are that I need to do quite shallow cuts. So far I did eventually with 5mm. The first ones was 15mm. That was too much, it wanted to resonate, and yeah, I haven't found still the right feed and speed that wouldn't resonate, but what I discovered is that mostly it goes pretty well, but when there is a knot it tends to tear up a little bit and shake this whole thing. So yeah, a little bit of a bummer, but this is DIY machine, it's not perfect, and there should be more kind of support structures to prevent this kind of flex. But now I kind of know what's going on, so I can kind of adapt to that. I just hope this end mill lasts, because it cost 100 euros. After a bit of cleaning, here is the pieces on their place. Now I just need to glue this all together like that and continue from there. It's not perfect, but now I'm gonna use thickened epoxy to fill all these small gaps that are left on the seams. And this should be plenty strong for supporting the deck. There it goes. Now it's ready. I just need to glue it together. I don't have the filling agent anymore, so I need to wait to get that next batch of epoxy and those fillers. But I think that's it for this video. It was very exciting process to make that stem half. I'm gonna continue with that soon. I'm gonna continue with next frames. I'm gonna continue with this. I'm gonna continue with shaping these frames. I'm gonna continue with laying up the boat here in the shed. But feel free to leave a comment down below, give me a like of course, remember to subscribe to get more of these videos, and if you want to support my video production, please check the Patreon page as well. Looking forward to the 10,000 subscribers mark. See you later. Bye bye.